a private party. Don't need no money to qualify. Don't bring your checkbook.
Good evening, Facebook family, and especially those who are coming to us this evening on Jamaicans.com. A very special welcome to you. My name is Luke Ballantyne, and I'm coming to you from Moments to Remember photo and video studio here in Sunrise, Florida. Welcome again to Bar Talk. If you've visited Bar Talk before, you would realize that we are normally normally have a small studio audience. Well, as you know, the coronavirus and everything that is happening nowadays have limit our expectations as to what we can do. The new catchword is social distancing. So this evening, my normal friends like Dennis, like Kevin Stew, and like Juliet are not here, or Cheryl are not here, or even one more person, Joan. No, they're not here this evening because we are exercising and taking the lead as social distancing people, and we are making sure to show that. Last week we did social distancing in a studio where we only had about 4 of us in about 1,500 square feet. But this week we've decided that we're taking it another step, and it's best that people stay home like the governor says. So it's you and me this evening. The good thing about that is that Bar Talk is special in several ways to me, because I've always wanted a channel to just talk about things that sometimes it's kind of difficult to talk about with your one that you have some sentimental kind of relationship with. And so it's easier to do Bar Talk in a situation where it's more controlled. As you join us this evening, I want you to bear with me because I need your input on a topic that I'll share with you in a short while. But let me know where you're coming from. Let me tune in right now to see. Just give me a shout out as to where you're coming in from, where you're calling from, and so I can get a better feel and say hi, as well as participate in what we're discussing this evening. It's important that you do that, because tonight is going to be a dialogue night. It's not just be a couple of friends of mine saying things and you chip in. I really want to have your impact. And before I give you the topic, I think some of you may have seen the topic online, but I want to just give you just an illustration of why we need to be non-judgmental this evening regarding this topic. And I tell you what, I went to a couple of colleges. I went to University of West Indies, and I went to Nova here, but in Jamaica, Bethlehem Teachers College. Any Bethlehemites, just say hi out there. I would love to talk to you sometimes. Lovely school in the most surreal climate of Malvern. And so every morning, I'm a Kingston guy, so understand, I'm coming from a place where you mind your own business. So every morning, I go out on a jog. A couple of friends of we would jog, or sometimes on a lonesome jog. You came out of Bethlehem, you ran past Hampton High School. Hamptonites, if you're out there, happy, was it Palm Sunday? And we would then, track down some parts of the village. Beautiful morning, beautiful landscape overlooking Alport. And then go all the way to the bottom of the village and work my way back up. Now, every morning, almost every morning, I should say, there's an old man that was walking up the hill. And again, like I said, I'm from Kingston. I'm, a Jonestown boy, actually. You learn to mind your own business. And again, any Jonestownites out there, welcome to Bar Talk on Jamaicans.com. So guess what? I decided that I am minding my own business. And every morning this gentleman would pass me, and he would look over, and I'd take my eye off, and I kept jogging my way. And that happened for a while. This was about 1983, 84. So happens that one day I was at this store in Malvern. And if you know anything about Malvern, you know that the town center has only about three or four things. There is the grocery shop, there is the gas station, the courthouse, and a bar. Got talking about bar talk. And so my classmate father was in the grocery store, and he said to me one day, he saw me coming and he's introducing me to one of the gentlemen in the store, and he said, "This is Junior's roommate, and he's a wonderful guy," so forth. The man turned around and said to him in some very colorful words. I can't tell you those words right now, but some very colorful words. He says, that boy have no God something else manners. He says, every morning I pass him, I look over to him, and never one day did he say, good morning. In other words, he's saying to me, I have no manners, and it doesn't matter what this man is saying to me, I'm worth nothing. The more behind the story is that from different perspective, I'm from Kingston, you mind your own business. I find myself in St. Elizabeth, up in the top of Malvern. The idea is that when you pass somebody, you say hi, you say hello. Two different cultures, two different approaches to life. Now, how does that relate to the topic? Today's topic is cheating, a need or a greed. Again, the topic for today is cheating. Is it a need or a greed? Some people would differ from this conversation and say it's just of the devil. Well, listen, my role here this evening is not to make judgment. It's not a judgment call this evening. It is just a conversation between people. And so let me stop a while to say hi to Maria Harris, watching from England. How you doing, Maria? There's another hi. And if I don't get your names right, please. I have a problem with names at times. So Candy Core, how are you doing? Ben, how you doing, Junior? And as you come in, let me know where you're calling from. Participate with me as best as possible. Give me some feedback. So the question is, cheating as a topic. Is it a need or a greed? And let me start with the easiest part. And as you listen to the program, chime in and let me know. Ladies, let me agree with you on the outset. There are some guys out there that it doesn't matter what you say, they are always going to be this notion that they have to be a conqueror. They are the king. I don't know if that fulfills a need in them to be recognized or what have you, but there's some guys out there, and probably some women too. I can't say for the women because I'm not around them to hear most of those conversations. But I've been around some guys, some grown men who are pretty much, this cartoon I have here says it best. It's like a big deal to show off with your friends that, yo man, I got this number of women, and yeah boss. And believe it or not, while I keep that cartoon up a little bit, it reminds me of some grown men that I've known even now in our circles, who think going places and actually pointing out women that they have had relationships with is a good thing. I've actually witnessed that, and I'm sorry, I'm not calling out any names, but there are guys who I've seen, been around, and soon as you go somewhere in public and a good-looking woman passes by, he's telling somebody, oh yeah, I have seen, I've been with that girl, I've been that. I don't know. What do you think? Tell me, there's a need that he needs to satisfy, or it's just the greed factor that you need to see how many people you can have been with through your life? Tiffany, hi, Tiffany Reed, and Allison, Tiffany from New Jersey, and Dele from New York, thanks for calling in. Give me your feedback though on the topic, because I know it's one of those topics that people don't try to. It's like almost a topic you don't touch because it's a little bit of a curse. But again, there are no rules. There are no sinners in this conversation. There are no victims or villains in this thing. It's just a condition. Because if I go back to my analogy that I gave you earlier on with this gentleman from Malvern, in his mind, his perception of what is real is that as a person, you're supposed to always say hi to somebody. In my case, I'm from a society that says, Jonestown, you watch your own business. Now, if you interpret that into relationships, people come in with all kind of different needs. And sometimes these needs are not seen on the surface, especially when you think about how we meet people. And let me just, for example, piggyback on things that I know for a fact in certain circles. And listen again, this is no damnation against the church. I'm a child of God. I love the church. But one of the things I've noticed in the past from the church is that as soon as in churches where there's either too many brothers or too many sisters, as soon as especially the brothers, they walk in, then somebody is seeing husband material. Just because the brother walks in, he's got nice shirt on, you go buy the best of clothing for church, you bring your Sunday best, as they call it. You come in and you look presentable. And hey, especially if you say, hallelujah, praise the Lord, and if you drive a good car or so forth, he's husband material. But then again, like that man from Malvern and I'm from Kingston, we're coming from different background, different association. And let me develop that a little bit more. Let me hear what people have to say online. And so, sometimes they're lying just to feel important. Alexson says, sometimes you're lying just to feel important. Remind me of the cartoon I just pulled up a while ago. In certain circles, and I'm going to pull that up again because I find that really funny with what she says. In certain circles, like I mentioned before, the guys' circles, there's a reason to feel important at all times. And, you're a big man if you can show you've been with this person and so forth. But is that person, like I said, this thing is it a need or a greed? While I believe there are certain guys out there who are greedy, in your case, I agree with you. He's just lying to feel important. And I am going to agree with you for a lot of reasons, because I've been privy to situations where I've had to be around ladies and their husbands. I've been around the husband by themselves, talking about escapades that they've been on and the woman that they've been with. And I have had the flip side of that where having listened to the wife or the person who has been their friend, the truth is Pops ain't got his game as much as he claims he has. It's a lot of talk, and it's, I guess in that case, cheating or pretend, because we don't even know it's true. Because in fact, I've heard stories even, and there's guys with me who probably watching now, I don't want to get into any trouble, but you remind me that you have actually had to call out guys who claim that they've been with people, and then when you realize, it's like you said, it's just a matter of trying to feel good. So understand it's to fill a need. And so we could ask ourselves, what would it take to make this man not have to fill this need, or to be to reconcile with himself and his behavior? Someone else says Tiffany Reed, come on, Tiffany, by here. But Tiffany raises a good point. Tiffany says, Junko can dress up in a suit and tie. um, yes, Tiffany, I gotta agree with you. Anybody. And let's be fair, because if Kevin Stew was here this evening, he would say, hey, listen, man, let's be fair. Let's talk about both the male side and the female side. And the truth is, man, as a man, I've been places and I've seen sisters make, admit to guilt. She passes you, take a second look because she looks good. But the moment she opens her mouth, what comes out is totally opposite to the presentation. And let me be clear, this is not for all sisters. By far, most of the sisters I have encountered are wonderful sisters, but every now and then you see some hair, you see some lash, you see some hips, you see all the rest of it. And you have a strike of a conversation, and then, so that's a whole different topic that we could go into. But guys just figure, I gotta get that. And so whether it's Junko in a shirt and tie, or it's Jezebel in the best heels and so forth, people, and that points to where we're going. People get into relationships sometimes from different cultures for fulfilling different need. And so, and somebody else, Tiffany is also saying, and by the way, Vivine Bailey from Florida, hi, how you doing, Vivine? Andrea Brown McNeish, greetings from Atlanta, Georgia. Mitchell from Mitchie Foster, British Virgin Islands, and Daly from UK. Welcome to Bar Talk. Welcome to Bar Talk once again on Jamaicans.com, a wonderful platform. The ego thing comes up again. So I'm getting from the ladies. I wonder if there are any guys out there who can really contribute to this conversation, because it seems like the ladies are telling us who we are. I know it's Bar Talk, real men talking about real issues. And so, guys, can you come in and give me your side of it without the ladies probably getting on your case afterwards? But one of the things, as we mentioned before, that about drunk or dress up in a tie, I like that notion, because people get into situation, and so you ask yourself sometimes why people cheat, and the answer could be that people get into situations or get into relationships for the very wrong reason. Because for guys, let's be frank, we're visual creatures. And so one of the first things to want to have a relationship with a young lady is how she looks. Let's be real. And ladies, it's more, some ladies will say it's more to a relationship than just facial features. But understand it, whether you like it or not. No man is going to carry a tree to a party. Unless it's a tree party, okay? But other than that, we're not going to do that. So, but the thing about it, we attract ourselves, attach ourselves to people that sometimes fulfill a certain look, right? a projection out front. But the reality is that sometimes once you pass that projection, it's something else. And listen, I wasn't born yesterday. To be real with you, I've been in relationships before. I've been in one significant one that when I got into it, and the young lady told me she liked me, I told her I liked her, and we said, yes, let's start something. I went down on my knees and I gave God thanks. I said, please, Father, please, let this lady be my wife. I did, because she by appearance and just talking to her for the few times, you realize that there was so much you liked about her. But then, folks, that is surface. That's surface. So the more that relation progressed, the more I realized that there wasn't much connection that we had. In fact, my jokes, she really didn't find them funny. And her jokes, yeah, not my thing. And so the more you get in that relationship, but then why you stay? Why you stay? Okay, I'm looking at someone else. Alison says, I know this for a fact. It's greed. So she's sticking to the term greed. She says greed. Um, when she was growing up, I used to hear men talking that they only want nurse, teacher, or doctor as their wife for their wife, which sometimes they do marry one, but when they are on the corner of their friend with their friends, they have one or two girls sleeping with that they won't be caught dead with in public. Yikes. So in other words, if I break this down, that guys want a certain kind of lady that they can represent with. And in her case, it's the greed factor. They want ladies that they can represent. So again, it's not only good. So I'm talking good looking. She's saying on the other hand, it's more than just good looking. It's somebody who can represent. I got me back in her day in where she's from. If you have a lawyer, a teacher, a doctor as your wife, that makes you look good. So it's again for what is seen on surface, like we were talking about. But does that wife, does that nurse, does that teacher, does that doctor is fulfilling at home? Is she fulfilling as a conversationalist? Is she fulfilling as a mother at home? Is she being a true friend, somebody you can talk to? So don't knock the guy so much. I hear that. And like I said, this is not a judgmental show. This is not about being judgmental. This is just about digging. Like I said, it's bar talk. Let's be real. Let me grab a sip here. Nice little bit of a red Moscato. Good point, my sister. Let's address this. So you have a guy who wants to have a certain image at home or image to go on the street. So you show up at church with your wife and you walk off, sister so-and-so, brother so-and-so. He's a lawyer. You're what teacher, doctor. Together you make a wonderful couple. You got a couple of beautiful kids, and now you are the creme de la creme. But behind the curtains, behind the door, what's the compatibility? What's the compatibility? What are people seeing? Okay? And so now you're on the street, and there are some sisters, like she said, on the corner, who don't have all of that, but who can supply some needs. Folks, it's real. It is real. Let's not take this as being funny. And somebody would probably say, no, I'm not a goddamn, that's why. Needs are needs. And people have all kind of different needs. You know, you can go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. People have different needs. Here's the issue. We gotta understand what are we supplying. And when you go into a relationship, when people ask you what are you bringing, some people take that to mean I got money, I got car, I got land, I am organized. Can you hold a good conversation? Can you feel your husband need? Let me get a little bit more. Are you just in bed? Do you care about the missionaries only? Or vice versa, because some men are lazy too. Huff, puff, snore, fall asleep. What are you bringing to the table? It is more than the physical and the tangible. So while I'm not agreeing with the brothers on the street, remember, so this is not judgmental, but I'm also saying that a lot of this is, I guess in a sense, like you're saying, is greed, but I could also see it as a need. Somebody chime in on that, because it's about, that's why when I thought about it, I came up with this balancing thing, because some of it, in fact, is a need. What do you bring to the table? So she can represent in the street. I don't need nobody to cook for me. I think I'm a darn good cook. But can she cook? Can she balance a budget? When he's not having a good day, can she do that? Can she satisfy him in the bed, or is she too caught up in a day's work and clients and patients and everything else? And the same thing again, let's be fair, the man is about the same too. So now you find yourself with somebody on the street who can help you in other ways. It doesn't have to be sexual. There are not a lot of people out here who can say they're so wonderfully blessed that they have never been involved in any kind of a cheating, or they've never even thought of it, or their mind, because cheating, you don't have to be physical, you mentally you could be there. And a lot of things are what drive people to even think about cheating, because if you go on the street, sometimes it doesn't have to be physical. You go on the street, or people start relationships because of a need, for example, simple thing, to communicate. I thought about earlier, and I thought I should say this from the beginning. This conversation is not just for a person who you think is cheating. So if you're dragging your husband or your whoever significant other by the ears, sit down and listen to this. This is not the conversation for it solely because you think somebody is cheating. In fact, not at all. What this conversation is about understanding that make people drift. What are the culturally we coming from different expectations. And even though we come from Jamaica, there are several parts of Jamaica that expectations are different. So imagine when we come to this country and you start to deal with somebody from Alabama, Chicago, what have you, so forth, and people are brought up saying what what makes them tick, what you bring to the table. Let me see what somebody else has to say here. Tiffany said, yeah, for some people, image is everything. And she put in quotations, trophy wives. When you got a trophy wife or a trophy husband, it looks good, represent well. Does that person, I should say, meet all your other needs? Let's be honest, let's be fair. Okay, and so I go. And so Alexson is giving me and again, if I mispronounce your name, please bear with me. I have an issue with that. But she's saying to me on the flip side that sometimes women look at men for the wrong reasons. For example, you look at a mechanic and call him a grease monkey, and a handcart man as a dirty man. And so what you're seeing, again, we come back on the surface, because that does not help you in terms of the man you want to marry. But that grease monkey, that mechanic, or that handcart, pushcart man, or that dirty man that you're calling, may just be the person to fulfill your need. But then you find somebody else, based on what this is saying, that is doing that, but cannot meet your other needs. And the funny thing, anybody who wish to be in the Kim Kardashian financial set and house set and everything. But I've had the chance of dealing with people who have met, especially women, who men could give them everything they want. And so once you get like a deer in the headlights, starry-eyed and dreamy about the fancy car that he can buy you, once you get yourself acclimatized to the house and the number of bedrooms, and you may even have somebody, a helper, and you go to good school, and after you show off all of this on your friends, the question is, when you go to bed and you lay beside him, how do you feel? I'm saying that to somebody out there right now who may be getting in a relationship. You don't have to be cheating now. You might be getting in a relationship. You might be dating somebody. And now that it's a coronavirus time and you have chance to sit at home and think about things, dating may not be essential. Nobody can accuse you. That's one thing about coronavirus period. If you don't want to go out today, nobody can blame you because we're exercising social distancing. But it's also a wonderful time for you now to really evaluate. So the topic is cheating, a need or a greed. But you don't have to be doing any of those right now. You could be simply getting ready to have yourself a relationship with somebody that could end up in cheating. And you have to ask yourself, how can you prevent that? And one of the ways of preventing that is to ensure that your motives, if anything we can get, from the things that I've seen here from people talking, one of the things I realize is motives for relationship starting or building the foundation of a relationship, motives are crucial to the stability of a relationship. Last week, we dealt with the topic, can your relationship survive a coronavirus lockdown or COVID-19 lockdown? And there were so many conversations, so many inboxes. In fact, when we looked at the CNN report, there is a projected spike in divorces. The simple reason is people, once you got rid of the 9 to 5, so you're away from the third person, 8 hours to 10 hours at the minimum, you've been doing that for years. And now suddenly you are in a lockdown situation with a person and you can't stand the person. So now's the time to understand what makes a relationship work and how cheating develops. Now, this is not a scientific thing. This is bar talk. This is just guys talking about real issues in everyday society. If you are a social worker, a PhD in whatever, you may have your notions about things. But again, this is non-judgmental. This is not designed to be wrong or right. This is us just talking, grown folks, everyday issues, real conversation. Let me see what someone has to say. So Andrea Brown McNeish. Hey Andrea, how you doing? Andrea Brown says, communication and intimacy are key. Intimacy, not meaning sex, however. Quality time, cuddling, and meaningful conversation. That's what most men are lacking. Andrea, I love this. Actually, I really, really love this. Because you know something? I've been in relations before. And let me tell you something. The biggest problem is that, and ladies, don't hurt me, please. But the biggest problem that I had was that I would be told, I don't listen. But when I talk, they're not hearing me. And so we have a barrier. I am willing to listen to you to see what you're saying, but you can listen, but not listening intimately. Listen, but not listen intimately. Like Andrea said, intimacy is not about, and she's absolutely true from my own observations, intimacy is not about the actual sexual act. It's the ability to fulfill the needs of conversation, to need of being held, to need to feel important. And I think, to be honest with you, based on some of the conversations I've heard from ladies, that a lot of times guys figure intimacy is that you go out all day, you come back in, you jump in the bed, you rub, touch, do a couple of routine things, you do the act, you turn over, you fall asleep. And then you wonder why your wife or your girlfriend, your significant other, always seem to have a guy on the phone at work or at school or at play or wherever who can converse with her. Totally agree, Andrea. Angie Lewis. Some of the men are in a competition among their friends. They're trying to see who can have the most women. And so you come right back to my cartoon here. It's the same thing. It seemed like this is, I picked this up off the internet, but it seems like this is a most prevalent thing that quite a few guys think it is cool to have this competition among them as to who can find the most ladies. Again, there's a need to feel important that, I don't know if he's getting at home. Ladies, help me with that. If a guy has that need to feel important and you are married to him, I know a couple of guys myself who are like socialites. If something is going on, they have to be there. In fact, I don't know how they survive now that the coronavirus has hit. They have to be the biggest socialite. They have to be at every event. They have to have their pictures taken. And some of them in that crowd will always be the ones who tell you, yeah, girl, yeah, man, that show. Can't be bothered with it. Been there, done that. Yeah, or nice girl, man. You want me to set you up? I know her good. I know her like that. So it's a sense of, like you said, in that case, it's a need, a kind of negative need, but a need nonetheless. Now, if you are a woman and you find yourself having a man like that, or you suspect he's like that, but he's a good man because it's only one aspect of his life, how do you manage to fulfill that need that he doesn't have to go out and pretend that he is Mr. Rooster to make his friends, to look good in front of his friends? Or if that is that something you can even stop in the end? Good question. And Denise Ivadny says, men may cheat due to non-intimacy and communication, while cheat for emotional reasons. In both cases, something or someone checked out at home. Denise Ivadny, that's serious talk. Somebody, let me read that again. She says, men may cheat due to non-intimacy and non-communication, while cheat for emotional reasons. In both cases, something or someone checked out at home. Yeah, that's deep. Thank you so much. Again, non-judgmental, but I've experienced that. I've actually experienced that. Where home, I think I mentioned this last week, but Luther Vandross says a house is not a home until there's someone there. When you turn the key, will be there, saying that you're still in love with them. You know the rest of the song. If I don't say it right, just you. But the essence of that is that when you leave from the streets and go to your home, or go to that house, and you turn that key, it needs to move from being a building to a home. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But honestly, I've had experience. I've lived long enough, and that's why this is bar talk. This is nothing about being correct. There are no correct or there are no wrong or right here. But some of us can talk. Some of us, even Ivadny, and some of these people talking can talk from life experiences. You have a long day at work. Sometimes you have a horrible day at work. Or it could be the flip side. You had a wonderful day at work. And so now you come home. I've had experiences where I've had that, whether I had a rough day at home or I had a hard day at home, and I hit that door, turn the key. You're paying the light, you're paying the mortgage, you're paying the rent, you're paying whatever. You turn that door, and your feelings either go south or north. uh, because there's nothing there to come home to. So if there's a guy calling you to the bar, as there's some sister who's going to give you some time and she look attractive or it look like you can, I'm going to use the word, guys, score, it might be a reason for you to be tempted to go away. If I need, it's real talk. It's not something that we're just taking out to the sky. And she's saying that because, right. And the other thing is that sometimes you marry somebody when you are 19, 20, and then next thing you know, you're not moving on the same track because, like someone said before earlier, that you're not developing this sense of intimacy. So guess what? People grow and people grow up and people grow out and apart. So now suddenly that person who was amazing to you earlier, either you didn't take the time or they didn't take the time to meet your needs. So now suddenly your needs are not met. And for all the guys out there, again, guys, I'm calling you out as bar talk, real men. The best way to be intimate with a woman, in my opinion, is that you have to fulfill the other needs. The physical action is just the icing on the cake. Ladies, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me go see what some other people have to say. Angie Lewis Brown. Sometimes a lady may have a medical problem or simple stress. So men don't read or get involved with some type of therapy to help the woman spike up libido again. So in other words, Angie's saying if you really care about your lady, that there are things that you can do. So if, in other words, while we talk about this, let us talk about what can be done. Because like I said, this is not about who is cheating or who is not cheating or 10 ways to find out if your man or woman is cheating. This is not this kind of talk or conversation. This is kind of probably patching or giving a way for which people can make sure that their relationship don't go down the cheating game or don't go down the cheating back road. So what you're saying here, and you're suggesting that, listen, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're not meeting your needs, in the case of women, sometimes there's libido problems, and men, sometimes men is testosterone problems, some men is aging, so whatever it is, if you love that person, you find from what I'm hearing, you find what makes that work for that person. So you make sure that if you have, guys, she's saying if you have to do the research to see what would make your woman better, it's a chance to do so. And I guess vice versa. Sometimes these guys come in and they do all kind of thing and so forth, but we got our own problems. So we might talk about libido problem or aging, and we talk about the different things that happen to a woman at a certain stage. The same thing happens to guys. And so protecting your relationship, because after all, nothing is better than what you have at home. Okay, find ways. That's what she's saying in terms of getting to the point where somebody, like Ivadne says, has checked out. Let's check in. Let's dig deeper and find ways in which we can prevent this from happening. Oh Lord, Elizabeth Shea says they even cheat with loved ones at home. Even pregnant wife that at the home. Well, listen, I think here we can probably draw lines because, you know something, if there's a level of consciousness where if somebody goes to that level inside a house, well, there's more than cheating, need, or greed. There's somebody who needs therapy. I would think that somebody who needs more than just that. That person, in my humble opinion, needs some form of therapy. Elizabeth Chase says, I'm analyzing this a little bit way too much. Elizabeth, tell me, am I? I'd like to know. Cheat once, always cheat. And so, like I said, Elizabeth, this thing is not about judgment. She says, I'm analyzing this way too much. She says, cheat once, always cheat. And Elizabeth, I'm glad you brought up this topic, this phrase, because people have said that quite often. If a leopard don't change the skin, the skin or what have you, they cheat once, they'll always cheat. Guys, if there are any guy out there, please, or women who agree or disagree with that, let me know. How many people married who are married right now? And Elizabeth, like I said, there are no wrong or right, but certain people can't afford to disagree. I would tend to disagree with you because I'm quite sure there are people out there right now who have had successful marriages over the years with people who have cheated in the past. And if you're one of those people, let me hear a high five or raise or say something to that defense. Back to Denise. And he says, sometimes people marry for convenience without looking deep. Once the wedding is over and the children are, let me see if I can get down more here. She says, once the wedding is over, I can't seem to get more. Okay, there you go. She says, once the wedding is over and children are out of the house, you both realize that this person have become, you both realize who this person have become, and the conclusion is that you are just roommates. Well, that goes back to what someone said earlier, that people, like you, Denise, you said, somebody checked out. You married for the wrong reason. You get the person you want. Like I go back to that church situation. So you're in the church. Somebody introduced you to this brother who loves the Lord. This is the brother you need to talk to. He got a job. He loves the Lord. He got a house. He loves the Lord. And so somebody sets you up, you take the challenge, you guys say yes, and in 2-3 months you're married. Not that short courtships are bad, because long ones too are also bad, at least from my experience. But people do check out at times. But it does not necessarily mean that, like someone says, you cheat once, you're always going to cheat. Because if there is a need that causes you to do that, and again, I'm not taking up for a cheater. From a purely clinical point of view, I would say it's wrong, whether it's me or anybody else. But again, we have to realize that there are circumstances that make people do that. And we have to be, as a people, we have to be willing to think about the whole process of rehabilitation. If you think about it, the prison system, if I may just kind of segue a bit, the prison system is one that rehabilitates people. And their parole hearing, and we are sending them back out into society to say they have been rehabilitated and they're now good to live among us. How can we make a judgment on anyone to say once a cheater, always a cheater? Maybe the cheater is underlining there, but what are you doing to make sure that person, because once you say that, you're saying that half of the people, so many people in this world are doomed and to meaningful relationships. Okay, and Evadne says, then he says, a cheater is not always a cheater. So I disagree with that. I understand that. And you see, let me see what time we got left. If we should sum up all of this, the fact of the matter is, from what people have been saying to us just now, is that the whole question of cheating, some people, first of all, will tell you that they have never done it. And because of their Christian belief, their godly belief, any kind of belief, they've never been involved. And you need to probably question yourself. You've never done it physically, but what about your thoughts? And some people will tell me that they're always focused on God and their kids, and no matter what happened, they will stay in that relation and they will do what they have to do. And certainly people are there and they do that. There are other people who will tell you on the flip side they live once and they need to enjoy life, and that even if it's not perfect, they're going to live. And that may mean that some of them go outside of the relationship they have. Now, I don't know how you can be guaranteed as to whom or which person you have, the person who will going to stay by you come hell or high water, because that's the commitment they make. There people are like that. And there are people who, first of all, let's back up. There are people who have had, or we need to conclude that there are relationships that people have made over the years that are perfect, if there's any such thing as a perfect relation, or close enough to perfect. There are people who have had that relationship. For those people, I say to you, God bless, keep on nourishing it. Whatever you do, what kind of sauce you did, spread it to some people. Share it how you got there. I'd love to know notions like that. But for people who are in relationship with folks or heading into relationship with folks, it is nice to know that there's these programs like these do exist on Jamaicans.com that can help you. Like I said, it's for food for thought. It's thought-provoking. There are no right answers. There are no wrong answers. It's food for thought. And my hope is that just talking about this, like I said, there are no winners, there are no losers, there are no villains or victims in this conversation. Nobody for you to call up and see what him said. You did this, or we were not looking at 10 reasons why people cheat, or why da. We were just discussing here topics, issues, and circumstances that if you reflect internally, you can probably use to, one, better your relationship, or be more mindful of the person you seek next, or give God thanks for whom you have. Okay? So next week, I guess I'll announce a topic. We have several topics in store. However, what I'd like to do is to encourage you from now to stay tuned for Bar Talk on Mother's Day. Mother's Day Bar Talk will be dedicated to the mothers. And Bar Talk on Mother's Day will be entitled Mama's Boy. Okay? Bar Talk will be entitled Mama's Boy. And it will be dedicated to all the mothers who fathered us. And so if you have a husband, if you have a friend, and there's so many guys who we've been raised by their mom, and we ain't too bad. Okay? So spread the word. May 10th is Bar Talk. Hopefully this coronavirus thing will have eased up. The social distancing may have eased up a bit, so we can have a studio audience that we can invite a couple of special mothers, or probably have surprises or surprises for those mothers. We want to make it a big thing. Until then, hopefully we'll have another topic. If you have a topic or you want to continue this discussion, you can find me, and my name is Luke Ballantyne, and I'm with Moment to Remember Studio. You can find me on Facebook, Luke Ballantyne, or that's Ballentine, or you can find me at Moment to Remember page. On my page, you'll see a page, Moment to Remember. It's a photo and video studio here in Sunrise. Or above all, you can always check me in or leave a message on Jamaicans.com. I really appreciate your conversation. Hopefully I was able to get we could continue. Elizabeth Chase again. I was single and they lied about their status with wife and children. Ended up immediately. There are so many other. This is seemingly a non-ending topic, and I have not seen most of these things. Maybe I'll look at it and address it for another time. But truly, I appreciate it, and I probably will. Actually, let me respond to this one. Cheetahs is cheater is not always, and this is Juliet Stedman. Cheaters are not always cheaters. Some people change after they find someone who they really want to be with, and they realize. Again, I'm having a little bit of problem here getting to the more. But Juliet is saying, and that they realize that the person who is there with will not tolerate the behavior. In other words, sometimes understand, and that's a good thing we can conclude with. Thank you, Juliet, that oftentimes cheaters or people who would intend to cheat find out there is much to lose than to win. So it's a and I thank you for that, Juliet, because if there's any other way to truly end this, we could end it on that thought, that make sure that your home or what you bring to the table is more than the person could ever choose to find outside. If that's not enough for them, let that person go. Because the most important thing is that person, what you have to